Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second edition of the Zildjian Talk Season 2. And I'm very excited today to finally kick off this season, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just going to wait for some more people to join in. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Young Indian Drummer. Awesome. So as you guys know, we have a really special guest today, and I'm very excited. I'm meeting him online for the first time, and obviously I've seen him at the Zildjian Live event last year. And are you guys able to hear me well? Just reply as yes so that I know that the sound is okay. Awesome. So I'm just going to wait for a few more people to join in. We were supposed to start at 7:30 IST, but due to some confusion in time, we are starting at 7 p.m. now. And I'm very excited for this session, and I'm just going to wait for Matt to join in. Awesome. Okay, I can see Matt is here now. And firstly, as I said, I'm very excited for this season as we have some amazing drummers from India and abroad joining us to share their musical journey and their experiences with Zildjian cymbals. My first guest, as you know, is an American metalcore drummer. He's most well known as a founding member of the band August Burns Red. He also plays the piano, and he also co-founded the drum company Greiner and Kimmer. I'm sure you watched him at the Zildjian Live event last year. So without any further ado, I'm going to invite Matt Greiner all the way from Pennsylvania. So let's see if Matt is here, and he's here. Let's see, let's go. Just waiting for Matt to join in.
Yes.
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
How we doing?
Very good, sir.
Thank you
how
so
are
much
things,
for
man?
having me on here, man. This is great. I was just practicing drums, and it's hard to figure out time zones. So I was
Yeah.
down here early in my studio, and I'm like, I don't see anybody, so I guess I'm just gonna practice.
Awesome. Amazing. But thank you so much again. A big thank you from Zildjian India for accepting our invitation. And we are very excited to have you today. And before we start, how are things back home? And, obviously we've seen this whole last 1 year has been kind of very crazy for all of us across the globe. So how are things back in Pennsylvania and at your home?
Yeah, things are good here. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you, Zildjian India. Thank you. I've never met you before, and I've been following you, and I've been a fan of you for a while.
Thank you. Pleasure.
So it's great to meet you on Zildjian Live. Things are good here. Things are starting to pick up here. So we just announced
Okay.
a tour in September and October.
Yes.
We're going to be busy once we get back on tour. I have a feeling the whole music industry it's just going to explode with tours, and
Yes.
it's very much so needed. It's been a long time since we've been able to be out there playing shows. And I think the cool thing is, I think that it gives all of us a new appreciation for the music that we took for granted maybe from time to time, because we just had so much access to it. There were so many shows, and there was so much touring activity. And now people have been sitting at home for a while, and they're like, I can't wait to go to a show.
Yes. Yeah, I just saw the tour poster, and it's like I think you're gigging almost every day from like September to October end, and it's crazy, man. Like it's especially after such a long gap. How are you planning to get onto the bus now? Because it's I'm sure it takes a good toll on your body, the way you play, and your body approach and everything towards the music that you play is kind of really incredible. So how are you planning to kind of start this tour, and what are the preps for that now?
Yeah, just continue to do what I've always done and practice a lot while I'm home. You know, it's metal is a challenging genre.
Yes.
It's not easy to play, but that's the reason that I love it so much. You know, I fell in love with drumming because of metal and how hard it is and how fast it is. And, you know, when you pick up the sticks at the start of the show, you're like, you know, you're gearing up for basically a soccer game, you know, a football game. It's like you're about to run for 90 minutes. I think our set somewhere around like in between 75 and 85 minutes long.
Okay.
And so you have to look at it sort of as like a soccer match. Like I'm a big Chelsea fan, so I just watched Chelsea play yesterday and
I saw your story.
uh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so excited for those guys. But I was thinking as I was watching the game that those guys have to be some of the most physically fit athletes in the world. And I might think that I'm tired at the end of a show, but man, I just have to think about what those guys are doing on the field for 90 minutes. It's very impressive.
Amazing, amazing. So, Matt, because we are on Zildjian India, I wanted to first start off with your relation with Zildjian Cymbals and when did that start? And if you can just talk us through your current setup and the setup that you're going to use on the upcoming tour.
Oh yeah. Do you want me to show you?
Yes, that'll be amazing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just show you. I'll show you instead of tell you. So let me see if I can do this. All right, this is my current setup. Actually, this has been my setup for a long time. I figured out how to set up my drums like this in
God,
2007, and I haven't really
wow,
changed it ever since.
amazing, amazing.
Yeah,
Can
so
you can you give us a look of the blast bell? I think that's the new concept symbol that you worked with Zildjian, right?
oh yeah, I'm still playing the prototype on my drum set, but
Right.
I have a couple like this is the one that we designed
Nice. Okay.
together. That was the first one, and then here was like the prototype,
Cool.
and then here's the one on my kit. So
Amazing.
I'll start over here. So I have the 18-inch Oriental Trash China. I
Okay.
have the 20-inch K Custom Ride. I love this cymbal. This ride right
Nice.
here is it's really it has very good stick definition. Of course, your blast bell,
Lovely.
which, in case you don't know what that is a 7-inch bell that I use on top of my ride cymbal. And I just have a little felt in between the ride and the bell so that it doesn't ping together, you know?
Right.
And then I play 19-inch A Custom Crash, 12-inch Oriental Trash China, 18-inch Projection Crash, A Custom Projection Crash, 9-inch Trash Splash. This is like a prototype 9-inch bell
Nice.
that is just here on my kit, and then a 14-inch A Custom Master Sound hats.
Amazing.
That's it. Yeah.
So are these bells also available now across the globe in different sizes?
Um, the Blast Bell
Yes.
is available in the Zildjian concept shop.
Okay.
But no, the 9-inch bell. So people ask about the 9-inch bell, which is let me just show that again. Thank you to everyone that's hopping on here, by the way. This is awesome. Um,
Yeah.
Proud of you, Pulisic. Yeah, absolutely. So Christian Pulisic, back to Chelsea. He plays for Chelsea. He's from Hershey, which is about
Yeah.
30 minutes from my house. So all of us
Oh,
Pennsylvanians are really excited for that guy. This is the
nice.
9-inch. Let me get this right. 9-inch bell, and then this is the blast bell. So they complement each other really well. Um, this bell is not available anywhere right now,
Okay.
but this bell is available in the concept shop. So if you're looking for the blast bell, you can get it now through Zildjian.
Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. And now again, coming back to your journey and where you started, can you just give us a brief about how you started drumming and your earlier influences when it came to metal drumming and drummers from that genre?
Yeah, Sure. I started, so I started playing when I was 14 or 15. I got a snare drum. That was my first entryway into drumming. And my dad was like,
Okay.
listen, I want you to work on your snare drum, practice, play for a year. And if you're still playing after 1 year, then you can buy a drum set. I'm like, all right, we'll see. I mean, I think I still will be. The
Right.
thing is, I said that about skateboarding and I said that about BMX and I said that about motocross.
And it didn't work till 1 year.
No, I didn't make it a year. I mean, I made it a couple of years, but it was sort of like, oh, I forgot that I still like skateboarding. I think I'll try it again. And then
Uh,
I go out and buy a new skateboard, and then I stopped like the next week. So when I started playing drums, though, it was different. It was just different. I mean, you're a drummer. I assume a lot of people in here are drummers. You know, when you pick up a pair of sticks, and if it's something that you're built to do, it just gets in your blood, and you just can't get rid of it. And since I started playing drums, I've just been in love with it. You know, it's what I want to do. It's where I feel like I'm the most at home. It's where I feel like I'm better served. I'm spending my time the most productively. I'm the most energized. I'm the most excited and passionate. And all of it sounds kind of tongue in cheek and generic, but like it's still that way. I'm 35 years old. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I love it. I still love it to this day. So my early influences were people that really were underground. No one really knows who they are, and it really comes back to one person. It was this guy Joe Warmer.
okay.
He lived in Lebanon, which is about 20 minutes from me, and I would drive to
Mhm.
his house on Sundays, and I would watch his band rehearse. I would just like sit here in the corner, and I would watch him play, and I'd watch him play blast beats, and I would watch him use these effect symbols. I would watch his posture, his technique, how focused he was, how rehearsed he was, like just everything that he did. I was just soaking in like a sponge, you know.
Right.
And I would spend time with him after practice too. He would sit down with me and he would show me like French grip and German grip and American grip, and like then we'd watch these DVDs of these famous drummers. He liked death metal a lot, so we would watch like Nile and Dimmu Borgir and Cannibal Corpse, and then we get into like a little, Meshuggah, and
Yeah.
that's when it really grabbed my attention. When we got into some of those more rhythmically based, polyrhythmic, um, techie, progressive style drumming, that's what I fell in love with. And as soon as I found out about that from him, I got into Meshuggah, and then I got into this band called Extol from Norway, and I really latched on to the genre metal. I just latched on to metal. Um, I just matched on to Level. That's funny because we just came out a record called Leveler, a re-recorded version of
Yes.
Leveler. Getting tongue twisted. So that's really the beginning for me. It's not like this um, grandiose story of these amazing drummers who I looked up to. It's just really this one guy locally who took me under his wing and took me under and showed me how to do what he was doing and helped me find my feet. And then from there, I just went home and practiced my butt off.
Amazing. Amazing. Incredible. So again, a lot of questions have come in, regarding this, especially the way you sit and like the kind of approach you have, for this whole thing. So how did you kind of go about it? Did you kind of weigh in a particular way that your back needs to be straight, and or you've been playing like that naturally from day one?
That's a good question. Um, so I have seven brothers and sisters, and so
Wow.
it's instead of just a normal size small kitchen table, we had this really long family. I mean, it was a big table. You have to seat 10 people: my mom, my dad, my seven siblings, and myself. And
Wow.
so I say all that to say it seems like it's not relevant to this, but we would sit on these benches.
Okay.
Whereas most people might sit on a seat with a back, we would sit on these benches. And so, as is the case with the drum throne, there's no back to my drum throne. You just sit on it. And on these
Yes.
benches, I would sit and I would lean over and just kind of hunch. And my mom would be like, Matt, sit up straight.
Right.
So as soon as my butt hit the bench, hit the seat,
It was like
I
straight.
just eventually learned to just sit up straight. Like, you got to sit up straight, Matt. I don't like being told that I'm doing something wrong, and so I'm just going to correct it. And it just became a habit. So when if I'm standing up and I sit down to play, it's just my default posture.
Okay.
I don't really think about it. And now it's to the point now where, of course, it's a habit. But if I'm sitting here and I'm playing, like if I'm hunched over, I feel really uncomfortable. I don't feel balanced. I don't feel like I can hit the drums well. So I guess, like, my recommendation for anybody that's watching, if you're looking to improve your posture, think about every time you sit down anywhere else, not just like on your drum throne, but just if you sit to eat breakfast, if you sit at your desk, if you're in a meeting, sit down and actually think about your posture, and maybe even consider putting a mirror off to the side and just looking over, not in vanity, or it's kind of weird, but just look over and just make sure that your back and your posture's straight and your chin's up. And it will eventually become, a habit for you that you'll carry over to your drum set.
Right. Uh, Coming to the Zildjian events that you've worked with, especially I actually saw you first time with a brother, amazing Aaron Spears, a few years back. I think in 2018, if I'm not wrong, you did a session with him, which was a part of, again, a Zildjian thing. So how was that? And if you can talk about the Zildjian Live event. And I was completely blown, actually, by the way, when I saw you at Zildjian Live. And I remember I was in the control room while you were playing, and I was telling the engineer that this is already like a mixed product. What are you going to work on this? Because it already sounds so good and so tight. So it was just an amazing experience to see you live, man. And with the ease that you play the double bass, and your fills, your chops are just incredible. So please run through both these events if you can.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you. I remember meeting you there, now that you say that, and I was really excited to be there playing with Aaron, of course. I mean, I think if you ask any drummer around the world, they'd be excited to play with that guy, and I was just blessed to be able to be the guy that got to do it. So I'll never forget that. But I remember going into that session thinking, okay, I feel like I have a good understanding of this track that we're playing to. It was a song by Kaz Rodriguez. If you haven't heard of Kaz, go check him out.
It's
He's
amazing.
he's a phenomenal drummer and musician, and he writes these drumless tracks that you can play along to, and they're really musical and they're
He's
fun.
very popular in India, by the way.
Okay, you
He's
guys know
very,
who
very
Kaz
popular.
is.
Yes.
For my American friends that are on here, check out
Yeah.
Kaz Rodriguez. So he wrote this song, and so Aaron and I played along to it, and I remember sitting down in that room. I'm sure you can remember this. There were these bleachers in front of us. I didn't know that there was going to be a crowd. I didn't know that there was going to be a group of people there with headphones on who were listening to us playing. I was just told you're going to come in and play with Aaron Spears.
Right.
In and of itself, that's a lot. So we sat down, and the lights come on, and the camera crew comes out, and then I look right in front of me, and I see this, I don't know, group of 50 to 75 drummers there. They all have headphones, and they're just like,
Wow.
they're just waiting for this performance to happen. I'm like, oh boy, it's on. Like, we gotta do this. Like, we gotta give
Yes.
this everything. So I remember looking over at Aaron, and he's got that big smile, and he looks over at me, kind of nod a little bit. He's like, "You ready?" "Yeah." "You ready?" He's like, "Oh yeah. Let's go. Let's do it." and so we started playing together, and like you said, it just synced up. Everything felt good and sounded good. As soon as we started playing, I remember just thinking, like, wow, this feels better than I thought it would. It sounds good. Like, just working well. And we finished up, and people came out from the bleachers, and I'm so glad I didn't know who was there before I started playing, because there were some like legendary drummers there in the room that were,
Wow.
there to support. So, man,
Yeah, like coming
so
from
fun.
different genres, like especially Aaron has his, comes from a different school. You were coming and both of you playing the same track, it sounded really, really so cool. Like he had his color, you had your, the way you play, and it just really matched really, really well. Like it was
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. A little bit about the Zildjian Live event, if you can talk about
Oh,
the your performance with Ghost Note, and how was that, coming together and putting that track together with Robert Spud.
okay. So Zildjian Live, I got asked to play Zildjian Live in December of
19?
2019. I have to think about it. The COVID year messes me up.
Pre-COVID.
Messes me up. I get confused. So December 2019, I was in Europe, and I got a call from Sarah, um, and and she said, "Would you want to do this?" I said, "Absolutely. That would be a dream come true." She's like, "There's this guy, his name's Spot. He plays for he has an association with Snarky Puppy, and he has this band Ghost Note, and they're going to be the house band, and they're basically going to write you a song, and you're going to write drums to it and come in and play it, do a live performance, and we'll tape it and release it." Like, awesome. Sign me up. Sounds great. So I practiced. I got the song from Spud, and we went back and forth on it. Of course, I loved the song from the start, but like I would send him little notes like, "Do you want me to play exactly what you have programmed there, or a variation of it?" And then I flew to California. Oh, I remember when I was rehearsing for this Zildjian Live. I don't know if I've ever told anybody this, but a big snowstorm hit here in Pennsylvania, and
Okay.
I helped my friend do snow removal, which means I hop in a truck, and I have a plow in the front of my truck, and I'll help clear parking lots and churches and people's driveways. It's fun work for me. I enjoy doing it.
Wow.
Well, this big storm hit during the week that I was practicing here in my studio for Zildjian Live, and so I remember being in my truck, in my work truck, plowing snow, playing the demo that Spot sent me, just like over and over and over again, taking it all in, trying to figure out which part goes into which part and how I'm going to play it and what I'm going to play. And what's funny is I used to do that when I was landscaping, when I first started August Burns Red. I would be out mowing, and I would be thinking about the rhythms that JB and I were working on. I would tap them on the steering wheel, like da 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 da. Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna try to remember that. And then I would get home, and I would try to remember what I wrote on my mower, and then Jamie would come over and we'd play it together. It was kind of cool. It was like I went back 15 years to when I first started the band, and I was writing
Right.
stuff in like the work environment and taking it home. Um, so I was all geared up for this, and I flew out to California, and it was just the whole thing was wild. I was in the same hotel as Dennis Chambers. I remember seeing him in the
Woo.
lobby. Yeah, I mean, what more do you have to say?
It's crazy.
And then, of course, you go in the room and you see all these. I think in the video I described them as giants. Like they really are giants. They're just legendary drummers who are there to watch you play, and then some of them are also playing. So to get some context into this performance, Aaron Spears is the MC. He's introducing each person, and he walks in the room and he introduces me, and the crowd claps, and then video starts rolling, and you just play through it. You just kind of close your eyes for a second and you start. And as soon as you get started, you're good to go. But everything leading up to the moment where you start playing is a lot to take in. Like it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. And my advice for anybody who's in a situation where they're like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this pressure, just get to the point where you start doing what you're asked to do. Everything leading up to that point's tough, but as soon as you get to the point where in my case, pick up the sticks and hit the first cymbal, at that point it's autopilot. You're good to go, and then it's just fun. So
Yes.
it was amazing, and it's something I'll never ever forget. It was one of the highlights of my life. I'm so fortunate to have been asked by Zildjian to do it. I can't thank them enough. I can't thank everyone at Zildjian for hosting it and putting it on and putting a lot of money and production value into something that if they had cut corners, it wouldn't have the same effect. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, Zildjian Live is top of the charts for me.
Yeah, amazing. I can completely understand what you're saying because me being just in the audience that day, I was so overwhelmed with firstly the entire drumming community being there, and as you said, all the giants. Forget like even performing. It's like just to be there in that room for me is like a dream come true. Like just seeing Dennis Chambers, Aaron Spears, Stanton Moore, Ash, and it's like the list goes on, and it's like wow, and it's like I can completely understand how you would be feeling, just before hitting the drums. It's like it's that entire day. I remember being from starting at about 9 o'clock in the morning till like 7 o'clock in the evening. It's crazy, and waiting for your turn to come, and it's like, oh my God, it's crazy. But
Yeah, no, it really was. I remember I got a phone call from my dad while I was just about to go on,
okay,
and I didn't take it because I was just so nervous about talking to any talking to anybody about the show. Like, and then he
oh
ended up
God,
leaving me a voicemail. He's like, "I hope the performance went well today," and I'm like, "Man, I'm glad I didn't pick it up because I hadn't even done it yet." So he would have been like, "How was it?" And I would have been like,
right,
"I haven't done it yet." And he'll be like, "Oh, okay, call me afterwards. Let me know how it went." It's just
amazing,
I had to just put my phone away and just get in the right mindset. It's like I said, it's drumming is a lot like sports for me. It's a lot like being an athlete. It's a mental game and it's a physical game. And then once you're conditioned both mentally and physically, you sit down and you just let autopilot kick in. But there's a lot that leads up to the performance that
true,
everybody sees that makes the performance good and what it is. And
right.
Ghost Note, I can't thank those guys enough for writing the song and putting it together. And I mean, they learned 8 songs like that
Unreal. It's
and
unreal.
remembered it, and filmed it live. And oh man, it's
and
just
and
so
two
much
takes per
talent.
drummer. That's it. You get two takes, and it's
Just
it's
two.
amazing how the band plays everything together like that. It's unbelievable, unbelievable, really
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, coming to your band, Matt, if you can talk about how it was formed, and also a lot of people have written questions about the whole songwriting process that the band goes through. So if you can just give us some light on that.
Oh yeah, sure. So JB is the lead guitarist in my band, and he writes a lot of the material himself. Dustin
Okay.
is our bass player. He also writes a lot of songs. So what they'll do is they'll actually send me the song, and I'll sit here in my studio and I'll hash out part by part. And I write drum parts using this method. I call it creation, memorization, application. So what I do is I create the drum part.
Okay.
Say it's just like a really basic, say it's 16th note double bass and snare on 2 and 4, and I'll just come up with that pattern. That's the creation part. And say the right hand's playing like a paradiddle variation. I've created it. Now I'm going to memorize it. And to know that it's memorized, I have to be able to slow it down. I have to be able to speed it up, and I have to
Right.
be able to. This part's kind of interesting. I actually have to be able to talk while playing it. So I'll just be like,
Wow.
I'll be sitting here playing the part that I created and memorized. I think I have it memorized, and I'm like, so this morning for breakfast, I made coffee, and actually I'm out of coffee now, so I need to go buy some more. And I'll just have this full blown internal conversation about something that doesn't really matter, just to make sure that I have the part figured out. Now,
Wow.
I'm not as rigid about that as I used to be. Like
Okay.
I generally know if I have it memorized, but just a nice, you know, tidbit for someone who's like, how do I know if I have something memorized? You just try to talk over top of it. And if you don't, you'll know pretty quickly. You'll just fall
Right.
apart. And then from memorization, I moved to application, which is where you really find your sound as a drummer. You play something that a lot of people can play, and you turn it into something that is, it's not something only you can play, but it's a decision you've made musically and creatively to write it the way you did. And I always describe it like this: if you're walking down a hallway and you hear Travis Barker playing in a room, the door's shut, you can't see who it is, you don't know it's Travis Barker. You would hear him playing and you would know it's Travis Barker. So that drummer has obviously found his sound. And
Sound.
my goal for my students is, can we help you develop that ability and that skill set to where if you're walking down a hallway, if someone's walking down a hallway and you're playing in a room with the door closed, would they be able to tell it's you? So that's sort of in the back of my head when I'm writing. It's like, how can I write this in a way that, yeah, everybody could play this sticking or this rudiment,
Right.
but I'm playing it in a way where I'm almost disguising what's happening, and I'm putting my trademark on it. Like, this is mine.
Right.
This is a decision I made. So I'll use that process: creation, memorization, application. I'll run through, an entire song. And once I have it in a good place, I move on to the next song. The band actually doesn't really hear my drum parts until I get to the studio and I track it. And then we make decisions to change parts here and there and improve upon them. But
Nice.
that's the writing process. It's a little different than it used to be. We used to just sit together here and just jam out parts. And that's not
Right.
as effective for us. It's just sort of a hangout. We work a lot better if we're sending each other material, working on it, and then coming together to record it.
Amazing. Yeah, this is quite a cool process actually, and especially the one that you spoke about, putting down and making a new part, but kind of talking over it to make it like really comfortable, and also so that it's like really there in your head. Even when you go for the session, you're completely there in while you're taking it. Also, can you talk about the sound process? Like I know, if you can talk about the mics that you use, and also if there are triggers involved, especially on the studio and in the live concert. So if you can just give us a little idea about that.
Sure. So in the studio, in my studio, I'm using all SE microphones, with the
Nice.
exception of, this microphone is not really used for recording, but I call this my Joe Rogan microphone, my Shure SM7. That's used for podcast or podcasting or teaching. But
Nice.
my studio kit is all SE mics. Live, we use SM91 kick mic. We use a trigger on the kick in conjunction with the internal microphone. And then we've switched around microphone. I think we're using Shure mics at this
Okay.
point, and maybe a couple SE. I'm not as well versed on our live setup, to be honest. We have a really
Okay.
good front of house engineer, Chris Pollock, and he really does his research, knows what he's doing. And if you work with someone who's a pro, when they go to work, you just sort of let them do their thing and sit back and you do your job and they do theirs. So I'm admittedly a little disconnected from what we're using live.
Yeah, sometimes drummers have their own sound in their head, and then they want to kind of replicate that in the live gig as well. So maybe just the levels between the trigger mic or just the general mic. Sometimes drummers are kind of a little picky about how that should sound, or if you're using a trigger on the snare drum, or how should that sound. So things like that. So can you talk about the trigger, especially like what brand and what company you've been using the trigger mics?
Yes, I'll do my best. So we used to not use a trigger, and then we
Okay.
started using a trigger when I went to two kick drums. Um, the reason we use a trigger is to get consistency when I'm playing really, really fast. Fast for me is like 200 BPM. It's going to be harder to hit with the same amount of intensity as, obviously if you're playing at 130. So to level that out, what's a better way to say that? To bring the fast tempos up in velocity and the slower tempos down so that it sounds more even, we use a trigger. And the trigger allows you to just sort of level all that out so that our sound guy has an easier job out front. But we mix it with a microphone, so you still have some of that live
Yes.
feel too and live element. So anyway, I believe we were using a RT10 trigger, and I'm not exactly sure what we've upgraded to now, but we run it all through a module, and I actually have a mix of it in my ears, trigger and kick drum. And then out front we use, obviously trigger and kick. So it's a small element in our show, but kick drum being such a prominent sound in metal, it's a really important part. If we didn't have a trigger, it would be difficult to produce the same amount of impact, especially with our breakdowns and our rhythms and everything.
Yes. Yeah, I saw some of the clips and the production of the band and the gigs. I think the recent gig that you played was incredible. Like, it was amazing production. And also, if you can talk about the mix, as you said, talking about the in-ears, what kind of a mix do you generally prefer? Like, you have a lot of drums, a lot of guitars. Is there a metronome running through the gig and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, there's a click track. That's probably at the highest level. Click track is loud. When we start a song, it's started on a computer. That's our playback, and the song will say Empire. We'll pre-record the song name in the track.
Okay.
So I'll hear Empire, and then typically I'll hear 8 clicks, but so if it's in 4/4, I'll hear 8 clicks, but the last 3 clicks or 4 clicks are someone saying 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have this countdown. So it's like beep, 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 5, 6, 7, 8.
Boom.
And then boom, you're in. Exactly. So that if you miss that first click, you're not coming in on 7 or coming in on 8 or 10 or whatever.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we kind of learned the hard way on that one. It took us some time to figure out we should be doing that. So I have click track pretty loud, and I have drums and guitar and everything else pretty balanced. I don't like to play to just drums. I don't have any vocals. Obviously,
Right.
My band has screaming, a lot of screaming vocals and shouting, and it's not an important element to me when I'm playing. I like Jake's voice a lot. He has an awesome scream, but I don't need to hear it to play the parts well. And so when I'm playing, it's just a matter of like, how can I play at
Super
the highest
tight.
level? Exactly.
Yeah.
How can I play super tight? I don't need Jake's voice to be able to do that. So let's just eliminate that, so there's less going on. And you're always working your mix out. So like, I used to play with a lot more drums, and then I went through a weird phase where I played with drums low in the mix, and I boosted guitars so that I wasn't thinking about myself playing. But then I couldn't really tell if I was playing well or not. It's like, I know I'm playing drums, but I don't know how I sound. So at this point, I feel like I'm a little bit more balanced in my mix.
Nice. We've got some questions. Also, before we go to that, I just wanted to know how I get a lot of questions about practicing on a metronome on a regular basis. How important was you as a young drummer back in the day of practicing all your rudiments and stuff with the metronome, and how much did that help you to now reach a level where the entire gig is on metronome, so you have to be like super tight as we were discussing? So
yeah, I didn't practice to a metronome a whole lot in the beginning. I remember recording Thrill Seeker, which is our first full length, in 2005.
Yes.
Have you heard of the song? What's up, Sam? Good to see you. Have you heard of the band Killswitch Engage?
No.
Killswitch Engage. Okay, so they're a pretty big metal band, and I always looked up to them. Well, we recorded with their guitarist. His name's Adam D. in Franklin, Tennessee. And we went in to record, and his assistant one day was like, "Hey, Matt, you like this band Unearth, right?" I was like, "I love Unearth." And he's like, "Do you know their record, The Oncoming Storm?" "Yeah, I know it." "Okay, how about you go in there and I'll play it through your playback and you play along to it." So I remember going in, sitting down, and he played track 3 on The Oncoming Storm, and I could not play along with it. I'm like, this is really frustrating. And I realized, we tried it a couple times, and Wayne, the assistant's kind of laughing, like, "Come on, Matt, keep up, And I'm like, I can't play along with other music. And I realized that
Hmm.
I had only ever been writing my own drum parts and playing along with August Burns Red. And I didn't have the ability to just sit and play with something else that was obviously recorded to a click. It's not like it's, deviating in tempo a whole lot. I hadn't developed the skill to be able to do that. So I got home from that session, and that's when I started practicing to just beep, 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 beep. And you're playing whatever you want to play, but you're locked into that meter.
Right.
Sounds kind of weird, but I guess up until that point, I had just identified with the part I was writing, and that kept me in time versus playing to what I was hearing. You know what I
Correct.
mean?
Right.
And so that was 2006 or so, I would say, when I first started practicing to a click. So probably 5 years into my drumming, um,
Okay.
a click, or maybe you're practicing the music. I mean, most music is recorded to a click. So you are recording, or you are practicing to a click if you're playing to a song, basically.
Right. Awesome. Uh, let's take on some questions that we got on the Zildjian India page. This one is from, again, an amazing drummer from India, Rahul Hariharan, who's again amazing metal drummer. He wants to know more about the songwriting process for August Burns Red, particularly on breakdowns. Is it a case of the riff comes first and the drums follow, or the other way around?
That's a good question. What's his name?
Rahul, Rahul Hariharan.
Okay, nice to meet you. And he's a good metal drummer in India?
Yes, yes.
Nice. Okay. Thanks so much for asking the question, man. That's awesome. Well, the riff comes first is the answer. It
Okay,
used to be that I would sit here and I would write breakdowns with just drums. Like I would come up with the rhythm, I would show JB, or I would tab it out and send it to him. But at this point, JB and Dustin have such a good system down of like, here's how we're going to write August Burns Red songs, that they start at the beginning and they write to the end. And inside of that song are all of the breakdowns and rhythms. You know what I mean? So if there is a change that's made, if I write a breakdown, then maybe we would implement that into the song. But typically it's riff first.
okay, perfect. I think that pretty much answers this question. Was another one. What are the few exercises you regularly go for maintenance of your metal chops and ensure you are in good shape to play a ABR set at a drop of a hat?
That's a good question. Good questions. Wow. How do I stay up to par? I practice. I practice the set a lot, actually. So what I'll do is I put all the songs in Pro Tools, and I start at the beginning, and I work through each one individually until I can play them from start to finish. and then I start at the beginning and I play all the way to the end with the guitars and vocals and everything else, right? Once I have it to that point, I take away the music and I just play along to the click from start to finish.
Wow.
So if I can play the set from start to finish with just click track, beep, 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 and you're playing each part, you're ending at the right parts, you're starting at the right parts, the tempo is changing in each song at the right parts, then you know you're ready. It's sort of a way to like be prepared for the worst. So if something bad happens at a show and my mix goes out, if I just have click track, I can play. I can still hold it together.
Right.
That's my litmus test. As far as like conditioning, I farm. So that's a little bit of physical work, and then I work out at the gym, and I just love playing drums. So I'll practice and play just for fun, or if I'm working on another project, I'll just stay attached to the kit and stay up to par with playing. I guess my advice would be like, if you're wondering what to do to stay conditioned and stay sharp, it's not so much about what you're doing on the kit, it's just that you're playing. Because if you get in the mindset that you have to do X, Y, and Z to stay sharp, then you're not going to feel like you're staying sharp unless you're doing those things. But the thing about that is, I feel less motivated to practice if I know that I have to do X, Y, and Z. I feel a lot more motivated to practice if I'm if I'm playing just because I want to play. And then when I'm sitting down to play, I'll probably start working on those things. So for me, it's just about getting on the kit, practicing, playing, enjoying it, having fun. And then also when I'm sitting down playing, starting Pro Tools up and just, ripping the set from start to finish.
Amazing. Okay, I think we've about around 45 minutes. Is it okay, Matt, if you can go around another 5 minutes more?
Of course.
Yeah? Okay, awesome.
Of course.
If you can list your 5 favorite metal drummers and non-metal drummers.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say that you, my friend, yes, you're not allowed
Come on.
to push this off. No. I've been following you a long time. I mean, I know I'm the guest here, but
no, you're too kind. It's okay.
You are in my top 5 non-metal.
Please.
Seriously, you are, and I think it's awesome what you're doing. So thank you for having me on here. It's really, I feel blessed to do that. As far as metal drummers, okay, we're gonna go with Thomas Hake from Meshuggah. We're going to go with Alex Rudinger from the Faceless. I think Good Tiger. I'm not really sure who he's playing with now. Blake Richardson from Between the Buried and Me. Okay. Amazing. Always been one of my favorites. Justin Foley from Killswitch Engage. And number 5, we're going to go with Adam Gray, who is actually a friend of mine. He played for Texas in July.
Yeah,
Shout out to Adam. Non-metal, we're going to go with Aaron Spears, Ash Sohn, you. We're going to go with, the drummer for Justin Bieber, Devin Taylor.
Devin Taylor, yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
And we're also going to go with Steve Gadd.
Goat.
Jay Scott drummer. I just saw Jay Scott drummer's great. It's really hard, guys, to do top 5. If I had 6, I would go Jay Scott. Yeah. There are just a lot of good drummers out there, right? It's like with the age and era of social media, you're able to see how much talent there is in the world, and it reminds you why you are fortunate to play drums professionally and be in a band and have a platform at all, because there's so many guys doing it that are so good. Matt Garska, see, man.
The list goes on.
It does. It's just Dave scrolling here. Derek King.
Wow. Amazing. So Matt, one advice for, there are obviously a lot of young drummers from India I can see who are, joined us. And if you can give that one advice, obviously right now, as you said, social media is such a big part of the current scene. And, there's sometimes the information is overwhelming. Like, there's so much information and there's so many videos that you watch and you see these drummers playing at, like 200 BPM. Sometimes it's really overwhelming. So what's your advice, especially when it comes to this whole social media and creating music or said content nowadays? How would you advise on that for the upcoming drummers?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was just talking to friends about this last night. I'll answer your question with a story. So when I first started playing drums, I didn't really have social media. I didn't have a cell phone. I got my cell phone 4 years after I started playing. So imagine, just for a second, if you're on here, just imagine walking into your practice area, your drum set, your studio, and you don't have a cell phone on you. Just imagine that. Like it's not on your person. You have one somewhere else, of course. But imagine you don't have your computer with you. It's just you and your sticks and your drum set. And you sit down and you're just sitting here and you're going to play drums without any social media presence, any technology. There's nothing. It's just you and the kit. And imagine you sitting there for a year, and you go into your studio, you go into your practice area, once a day for 1 hour each time for 1 year. That was the way that I played. That was the way I practiced. That was the only thing I knew. And I feel like it can be an advantage or it can be a disadvantage to have the luxury of social media and technology at our fingertips, because whether we like to believe it or not, in the back of our heads at any given time, we are thinking about if we should capture this and present it
Mm,
to people that would enjoy it. Or we're thinking, I want to be like that guy, or I wish I could have that many likes or followers. And I think I could get there actually if I post this. So we're constantly in the mode of like, what we're doing here only exists, right, if it's captured and posted.
right.
Otherwise, it doesn't exist because we're the only person that knows about it. That is complete and utter nonsense. It's nonsense. It What we're playing matters, if only for us, if only for you, if only for me. It doesn't have to be affirmed and backed and perpetuated by the likes and the follows and the support of the social media universe. Because at the end of the day, everyone on that side of the screen is looking at you thinking, okay, I want to try to do what he's doing too, right?
Oh,
So
exactly.
they're trying to play catch up just as much as you are. Sit down, put your phone and your computer away, and just play for the sake of you. Play for the sake of you making progress in an area of your life that you love. You're sweating, you're smiling, you walk out of the room, and what you just did there really matters. And it matters in spite of the fact that it was never posted online. You never proved to the world that you just spent time practicing drums. And I think that's one of the greatest travesties of social media, is that we feel like it didn't happen if it's not posted. And I would just challenge everyone, if even for a couple times a week, do not capture what you're doing. It doesn't even have to be with just drums, but with just drumming, and think about what it does for you psychologically and mentally, to know that it matters because you did it for yourself and you're making progress, and you can pat yourself on the back saying like, this was a good thing. I didn't post it. No one said it's a good thing. No one said it was really good or really bad. I did it for me and I really enjoyed it.
Wow. This is just exactly like, it's just the perfect answer for, especially for today's generation, because, everybody, as you said, just wants to post. If you don't post, then the day is not completed. It's become like that.
True.
So once again, Matt, thank you for this incredible interview, and a big thank you from Zildjian India for accepting this, and I really hope to meet you someday at your farm. I see some amazing clips that you post of the farmhouse, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. You're really lucky that you stay in a place which is so pure. It's like you just want to step out and you just feel the energy is so good. Just by looking at your videos, I can feel that. So
Yeah.
once again, thank you so much, Matt, and I really hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me, dude. This has
Thank-
been really fun. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate everyone that was on here to watch. I've been sort of watching your comments, scrolling.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and continue supporting Zildjian, and all the good stuff that they're doing. I hope I get over there in person sometime. I know we've talked about going there for years and years and years, and obviously it's going to take some work now, but
Yes,
there's
hopefully,
a
I think
light up
maybe
ahead.
next year, if we can get some kind of a Zildjian live event in India, in different cities, Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, I think that's going to be amazing. And I'm sure, you will be on the top of the list to kind of, come and be
Let's
there
do
and
that.
have fun.
Let's do that.
Yes.
But I'm only doing it if you're on the bill, man. We got to do that together.
Yes, I'm on for that. I'm on for that. So, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thank
This
you.
is great.
Cheers. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone,
Cheers.
for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Thank
All
you.
right. Sounds good.
Thanks. Bye.
Peace.